Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this hot day. Hopefully, you are in a spot that is cool. Hopefully, your libraries are cool. I spent a good part of Friday Our AC is not working well at my library, so I spent a good part of the day preparing signs for closing down parts of the library if they get too hot. So, hopefully, that was not your experience. So I'll kick off the meeting. How's summer reading going for everybody? Have you kicked off yet? I know some of us have, some of us might. It's coming up in a day or two.
Yes, we kicked off June 1st and we had our kickoff event last Thursday and we had tons of kids. We had the Cirque Among Us and oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I just had a blast watching it and it's going really well. So
Cool. And Cheryl has got power outages in Sparta, so good luck to your community. I know it's always a nice thing. Whenever there's power outages nearby, but not at my library, I always post, hey, we've got outlets, we've got AC, come power up, bring all the devices. So a couple other people kicked off. We kicked off yesterday, and even with the heat, we still kept it outside. We opened up our meeting room as a cooling station, though, so that helped. But we drew 150 people, so I was very pleased in the heat with that. So yep, use your AC as a marketing tool. Use anything you've got. Hey, I'm at home at the moment without AC, so AC is sounding good. I might have to, Mary, I might have to walk on down the block to Ewald later today.
please do. We posted that we're a cooling center too. So because not like you, Kelly, not everybody has air and it is, I mean, I walked 2 blocks this morning from a meeting and I was just perspiring and it was just crazy. So you got to be careful too. You don't want to get overheated. So come on in.
Will do.
You can work from there. You can use the Wi-Fi.
All right. So anyone have any summer reading tips for those that have kicked off, for those that haven't, or have other programs coming up?
Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
We just had a really positive summer reading kickoff, and I think we might be geniuses. In the past, we had gone like, oh, well, we're going to host it here at the library. We should get like a magician or something and have a hard start time for the magician and wrangle all the kids into the room for the magician for like a show that lasts like 25 minutes. But instead, we took over the whole library and we had like stations, sign up station, balloon twisting station, face painting station, games, crafts, and free ice cream over there. It was all spread out so that at no point was there more than like 20 people clustered in one thing, and there was something to do at all times. So don't get magicians, everybody. No, I love magicians, but it worked out.
Yay. It's always nice when things work out, especially if it's not initially as planned, but it all
Right.
works at the end.
Right.
I'm going to share, I'm popping a link in the chat here. One of my coworkers came in yesterday, he was ready for our kickoff. He dressed himself as going on a safari. So we took over. We sent him around the library and took pictures of We've now nicknamed him Adventure Dan, and posted him up on social media yesterday and had a little fun with it.
Oh, I forgot one other tip. We called up the local ice cream folks to bring their ice cream truck. But what we also made sure to do is, so there's ice cream, but then right next to it, we had like an iced coffee station. And not for kids, obviously, but for all the grown-ups who were having a day, to see coffee was like an oasis. Their eyes like lit up. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need right now. So think of your grown-ups.
I say it is the grown-ups that bring the kids, so you got to entice them too.
We had stations this year as well, and we usually do a photo booth of some kind or another, but this year we did a 360 photo booth through Showtime Productions, based out of Rochester Hills, and that was really popular. And then as a bonus, of course, everybody was tagging us on social media on their videos, so that was nice for us to see too. We had our kickoff on June 1st, and because we're gluttons for punishment, our summer reading program runs through August 30th. So it'll be a long summer.
Hopefully you spread it out.
I have no idea. We have I can't take any credit for this, but our outreach and programming team is hard at work, and we have so much happening that I had to expand our events brochure and add like 4 more pages to it. And I printed the same number that we did last year, and they flew off the shelves, and I had to order another reprint batch of our summer guides again. So I think that's a great sign for our attendance this summer, but we'll see if it keeps up. Usually we see a bit of a drop off midsummer, so we're trying to. We do a midsummer party now to try to keep people coming to our programs. That's at our branch library. So instead of doing 2 kickoffs at both branches, we kind of spread it out a little bit more. And that was a huge success last year. And I'm a little bit worried that it'll be too successful this year because we can only accommodate so many people. So I'm scaling back our advertising for that one, actually, because I had the bright idea of putting it on the cover of our events brochure this time. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, those are good problems to have. You always have to remember that. Still problems, but good ones. Philomena posted they're also doing different stations, and they're kicking off on Saturday, so we all wish you luck. Does anyone have a question for the group today?
I was wondering if anyone has used Google Ads before, and what their experience with that has been.
I don't have a good answer for you. I've been looking into it, and it's currently I signed us up, and then you have to add that little bit of coding into your website, and so it's at our technology department to double check that can be added into our website safely. So, but they've had a couple of other things come up that, like, our door reader isn't working, our mobile print has been not working on and off, so they're kind of busy with other things.
Got it. Yeah, we've had a few vendors reach out to us about assisting with Google Ads. I feel like it's something that we wouldn't need assistance with, but I've also received those emails with those Google Ad credits and stuff, and I'm just not sure how to apply those, if it's worth applying those, and I haven't really had the time to investigate it more. So, but if nobody else has experience with it, I did have one other question too. Yeah. I'm seeking advice from other libraries who have been through millage campaigns. We are looking at putting together some information about an upcoming campaign, informational campaign, of course, for our library. So I'm on the lookout for materials that have worked or things that have not worked and lessons learned from those.
I participated when I first started working here 6 years ago. We had a millage campaign, and I had never worked on a millage campaign. I mean, I voted for millage, but I never, because I had just started working at the library. So we had a committee and it was a community committee. So it wasn't a library committee, obviously, and we can't, tell people to vote yes, but it was really informational. And we met in the beginning. I mean, we started well ahead of time, and we met, I think, once a month. And then as I got closer, we got, we met more frequently. But it was really just getting the word out and information. Our friends helped us. We did lawn signs. We had little handouts that we had at the library, and we encouraged people to put, come and get lawn signs or call the library to get a lawn sign. So we had a lot of lawn signs, and I can send you what we did. I can't remember. It was something like say yes. We had like a little theme, and it was, I mean, knock on wood, we passed by, I don't know, 72 or 74%. So I'd be happy to send that stuff to you.
Yeah, right now I'm
Yeah.
focused on preparing for our informational campaign. So that's just, as far as what the library can do, just saying,
Mhm.
here's what would happen if it passes, here's what will happen if it
Right.
doesn't. And trying to get that information. The biggest thing is just transparency, and it's really
Right.
difficult with the headley rollbacks and everything to try to explain to the public in as clear a way as possible what it is that we're asking for.
Right.
So I know that's something other libraries have had to deal with a lot as well, and just kind of on the lookout for those kinds of assets. Right
Right.
now, we'll see as we get closer if a yes campaign is formed or anything like that, but at this time, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because the headley is nobody understands that. So you can't even, I wouldn't even try to explain it personally. But we just said we're not, it's just a renewal. We're not asking for more taxes. I mean, I think that's all people care about. And people love the library. So I think it's really important to get your supporters to share the love of the library with the community, because there's a small portion of people who are no taxes. We don't want any taxes. We don't care. We don't want taxes. And they can be pretty loud. So it's really important for people to understand if you don't, then you won't have a library. I mean, basically that's the bottom line, but I can send you some of the stuff that we did. Be happy to do that.
Thanks, Mary. I'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's been years since we've had to do it, but I remember the one time I did, it was the biggest tip I remember is getting word out to staff of what they can say, what they can't say, that you can't advocate one way or another, but here are the facts, just so everybody answered questions correctly. And we didn't run into, because there are those out there, especially now, and I did this 10 years ago now, people out there now that want to trip you up on purpose.
Right. Yeah, that's the phase I'm in right now, is trying to prepare all that verbiage. We are planning a all staff training on August 6th. So I want to make sure I've got as much as possible completed before then, so that everyone's on the same page and is aware of what it is that we can hand out and stuff like that. Which doesn't leave a whole lot of time, but so I'll be working on that. And then I'm working on a communications audit project right now too, so that we can try to figure out how to better communicate, how to improve our internal communications ahead of that training as well.
All right, and then we have a question in the chat from Romeo. For those of you that work from home, how is printing handled? Do you go to the main branch? Do you pass on and use their machines or supplies? Do you pass on your designs to others and another person to print? they were interested in the process there. I'm posting the question in the chat because it came to me directly. And I'll say, I work from home generally 1 day a week. So for me, it's easy. I just don't print this day. Tuesdays, and I save my printing, and I do that any other day I'm at the library. So that, because I don't have a printer at home. I think once or twice I've had to print something. And frankly, I'm lucky enough to have the Grosse Pointe Library down the street from me. So I ran there and used their printers.
We're all back at the library, so we don't have anybody working from home, but I think if I remember properly, we just would, send it to the printer and it prints here when you send it from your work computer, and we just come pick it up. But we don't have anybody working from home now. Everybody's in.
And I did have one person direct message me that they print from home if they need to.
Am I showing up as that person?
Yep. You actually
good.
sent it to me as a direct message. So here, I'll post it in the chat
okay.
to everybody. So
Oh, it wasn't in the chat? Oh.
it was, but you direct messaged me instead. So it just got sent to me instead of everybody. So
Gotcha.
I know I can
okay.
default to that sometimes, which is confusing.
Yeah, well, and I'm on my phone. My computer didn't have enough juice, so I'm on my phone, so it's a totally different format. This is why I'm late as well, so I'm sorry for that.
Hey, we're glad you could join us. So
Thank you. Is my picture showing?
Nope. We have just your name.
I don't know. Is that it now?
So nope, but you're fine if you just we don't require you to have your video on, so
Yeah, no,
whatever
I
works
get it.
best for you. So
Yeah.
And then we have another answer in the chat from John. He said they print design posters and informational pieces in their library, and they have a small budget to send larger designs like magazines to the local printing company.
Mm-hmm.
And then change in topics. We have another question in the chat here. Is anyone here also involved in their library's website? We are looking into ADA compliance for websites that has to be implemented in the next couple years, and what are its ramifications for libraries? I know we're starting it on this. We actually just added on. Now I don't do our website. We have a technology department. I'm lucky enough to have them. They just added an adaptability little icon at the bottom of our website, so you can change the font, you can change the images, make it dyslexic, make sure it doesn't flash, so it has all the different options. It's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And although I'm not dyslexic, I actually like the dyslexic font. It's a very easy to read font. So I've switched it to that just to play with it. And I actually got, I know Adam, and then we just started looking into this for social media. So I actually reached out to Adam Oster at Library of Michigan, and he sent me some items, and I could pass it on to the group so long as he's not on at the moment, but as long as he says it's okay, which I think he would. But how the steps they do for their social media. So I know you now have to, like, if you put an image in there, you have to create a text tag for the image.
Mm-hmm.
I've just started, I managed to reach out to Adam, got busy with everything else, and haven't looked at it in depth yet, but it's on my to-do list. And then Mary posted in the chat that They added the Recite Me toolbar to their website, and that's great for accessibility.
Your bedroom door open to sleep. Experts say it's better.
Yeah, I'll add with West Bloomfield, we just did a website redesign over the last year, and we ended up going with UserWay. We did get quotes from Recite Me as well, but we went with the higher up plan and UserWay's plugin product for accessibility. But that doesn't cover everything. One of the biggest things that it's missing is PDF remediation, which is a huge thing for accessibility on websites. And of course, a lot of us have our policies and board meeting minutes and all that stuff in PDF format. We do have Adobe, I'm blanking on which Adobe product it is right now, whichever one allows you to remediate PDFs. And so I went through when I uploaded all of our stuff to our website, and I just did a very basic, like the easiest remediation that I could do without spending like 2+ hours on each document. There's like a little button within the document when you open it up that just says make accessible, and it goes through and it fixes some of the things that it notices to be issues. It's not a perfect system, but it does do some of those corrections, and then it will identify other issues that you have. So one of the big ones is I added like a language tag to all of our PDFs so that it was clear that it was in English, and I added a title to the documents as well. But I did not go through, to be honest with you, and fix each of the tables to include tags for those. It's complicated, and I started watching a YouTube video on how to do it, and it just went a little bit over my head. And so that's something that we've been kind of looking out for. We're also looking at now integrating with another, we're looking at board pack for our board documents to make things a little smoother too. Or Boardable, where I know I reached out to Marianne about what their products that they use at Grosse Pointe as well, to this end, so that all of our board documents would be kind of in one place and visible through a sort of third-party viewer system. And I think this isn't a legal stance by any means, but I think it does help if you go through a third-party system. It's just another layer to add to it, so it's not like you're directly solely responsible for the way that those PDFs appear online. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And then Stephanie posted in the chat, great webinar is coming up next week, Tuesday at 11 o'clock about ensuring digital accessibility. So thank you, Stephanie. I saw that and then signed up and didn't think about it now. So that looks like a great website or a great webinar. So, and it's free. So the price is library perfect.
I'll add too, one thing that just came up in our website meeting yesterday was we were talking about we've had since 2019 a virtual tour on our website. It's a little dated now, so we've been talking for a couple of years about updating that for accessibility purposes, so that neurodivergent people especially can see how the library space looks before they come in. And it actually came out, one of my coworkers had been to a seminar put on by some federal security organization and about mass shootings and ways to decrease your likelihood of being selected as a mass shooting site. And of course, relevant to a lot of communities right now. And one of the commonalities between a lot of mass shooting sites is that they have one of those virtual tours online or someplace where somebody can more easily create their own map of a space. So we are now looking at removing those and just doing slideshows to try to give people a better sense of our space, but not necessarily how the spaces are connected, which is unfortunate, of course, for people who genuinely want to make use of those tours, but we've got to keep everything secure too. So
that's it. I admit I would have never thought about that aspect of it. So
Yeah.
fortunately, it's good to know about in this day and age. So all right, and Alicia put in the chat to thank Stephanie that she's going to register for that webinar, and to thank Marianne and Victoria because it's new to her and they're updating their website from a very old one, and they're now going to be using the new one, Divi module website. So good luck, Alicia. Website redesigns are an undertaking.
we're doing ours too. Deb is working on it. I don't really have a part of it, but it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I've made a few notes here to mention to her.
I have also, as of our website committee meeting yesterday, heard, I don't know, a lot of libraries may know of, there was an individual specifically in Michigan who was flagging a lot of websites as ADA non-compliant. And that was causing issues for, it has for years caused issues for a lot of other libraries and government agencies within the state. That individual is no longer in Michigan. And now there are a lot of other flags happening apparently in Illinois. So that may help build a sense of relief. Of course, we need to be as compliant as possible, but for smaller library systems and library systems that aren't able to necessarily know how to do that, it's can be difficult.
Definitely.
Yeah. And got a question in the chat from Romeo asking if we know about the ADA compliance rules and the mandates and more information about them. And I admit I don't have that offhand. I can try to Google it here, but I know if you sign up that webinar next week, we should have details about it.
I think libraries have a couple of years before it's I mean, I guess it is a mandate. I don't know by whom. I'm assuming the government. I don't really know, but I think we have some time. And I think sometimes vendors will try to scare you into doing something right away. And, you know, I would caution against that because it isn't like you got to do it tomorrow. So, and there's a lot of different options out there. So don't get scared and, you know, do something that maybe isn't the best. And I think this webinar is going to be great. I've signed up for it too. So.
Yep. And then Alicia and Victoria both posted some links in the chat too. So that are great. One's about the waive accessibility and then one's the rules there. So if we look that over before we go, I'll go to the webinar next Tuesday. That's, you know, perfect. So we can have an idea about better comprehension of when they mention it. So. And you know, it might be a little bit of work, but it is work that's well worth it to make our websites, because we are a public library, we serve everybody, so we want to make sure we truly are serving everybody. So
Right. Thanks for those links.
all right, anyone else have questions for the group today? We've had some great discussion so far.
I had a question. It's not about the compliance, but it's more for kind of directed for Jeff. I've been thinking about how you have the you know, your community and you tie in with like the brewery and with a different Ferndale project and things like that.
Yeah.
And you know, do you do so? Like we have a market in our city that I've thought about maybe, you know, we've collaborated with them, but then maybe going a little further. Do you do things like is your library near the brewery? Like do you do things on site there? Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know how many other libraries in here are right in the middle of their downtown strip, but we are. Sometimes it works against us and sometimes it works for us, but that means that we're nearby everything, and that's why we do so many things at so many places.
I think it's really cool. And we
Yeah.
have so little industry in our city. In Huntington Woods, where, you know, we have just a handful of businesses. And so we have this new market, and I haven't broached this at all with them. So, but it's right near one of our parks,
Mhm.
and it's right on 11 Mile, and it would be accessible. You know, they have a great parking lot. They have a,
Sure.
you know, the park is right nearby. So I thought, well, you know, I was thinking about you and the way you've integrated with some of the businesses, and I thought, well, that might work for us, you know.
It's like a farmer's market. There's gonna be fresh produce and stuff like that.
No, it's called Monarch Market. It's a so right on 11 Mile, there's a park, and then there's a parking lot with two businesses. It's Monarch Market and then a hair salon. And I think they're both owned by the same people. And so
Okay.
Monarch Market's kind of an upscale, like you can get good coffee, you can go in and get a coffee, you can get desserts, you can take out. It's sort of like it's kind of like things are they'll have tons of gluten-free things and specialty items and stuff like that.
Mm.
But it's not like holiday market, you know, it's not big like that. It's very small actually. But you can go in, they have a few seats, you can have a coffee and a muffin or whatever, but then you can also take away too.
Is there enough space to host a story time?
Maybe. I haven't been in it in a long
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So, but
Or
that might be
go in and pitch that they should make a library latte for you.
well, that's what I was thinking, because I thought about you. I thought
Yep.
like a library coffee or something, and you know, like a specialty drink or something. I thought
Mhm.
that would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like that idea. So I just thought I'd run it by you, because I didn't know if you guys met at the library or if it was near enough that you could, you know, move over to
Yeah.
the brewery.
At this point, we have events going at 3 different breweries, pop up at an ice cream shop, and then another book club at a coffee shop.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great idea
We're
too.
going to where the people are.
Well, yeah.
What else
Well, I
are we
like
doing?
that.
I feel like we're
Thank
doing
you.
something else. Yeah.
Just writing some notes.
Yeah, we do one book club that's at a coffee shop little cafe across the street from the library. So it's convenient. So like the librarians that do that, they just walk from the library across the street and then come back. It's always Saturday morning. So then that Saturday they work the desk shift at work. So they just walk on back and
That's great.
And then we had a question in the chat about suggestions for staff for webinars and programming for staff on marketing. And I suggested, if everybody doesn't already do it, Angela Hirsch's superlibrarymarketing.com. And she does 1 video a week. It's always nice and short. So it's like around 7 minutes. And I do share selected ones of those with other staff members, as does Marianne. So
I sign up for every free marketing webinar there is.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are not library related. It just, you know, you can get like one little idea. Jay Schwedelson does a podcast, and he does these short little 5, 6, 7 minute podcasts. I can't listen to a podcast that's longer than about 15 minutes. I don't know
Yeah.
why. But I've just found these people to follow and sign up for their stuff, and they're marketing people or people who do send out e-newsletters and email marketing. And so I sign up for every single one I can. Hootsuite does a bunch of free webinars if you participate in Hootsuite, and I watch them all.
Hmm.
It just even if you just get one idea, sometimes they're like and I click off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot of time, and they're free, so it just gives you some different ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
also
vendors
like
are a great option.
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh no, that's a good thing when we're both talking at once.
Yeah,
I
just to-
also like looking outside of library land and looking at nonprofit webinars. So, and I get so many emails that I forget which ones they come from, but occasionally I'll see a good nonprofit marketing one and sign up for
Mhm.
that. And then you can glean something different because they're coming at it from a slightly different vantage point than, don't get me wrong, I love the library marketing ones too, hence, this group. So,
Right, but then it's neat to see it from a different perspective.
mhm.
for graphic design specifically too, if you have Canva, I really like their design school. They're short bite-sized segments. If you just go to the top of your Canva page, there's a little learn tab, and then you can go to their design school. And I like to use that with staff who I'm getting roped into our Canva access to kind of onboard them and help with some of those training.
That's a great idea. I admit my Canvas skills are not as where I would like them. They're not horrible, but
They're adding new tools all the time. I just trained somebody else in it, and I was going to show her how to do something, and she was showing me how to do something actually. So with all the AI integration and everything now too, it's wild.
In the chat, someone mentioned Jay. Who is that?
That's Jay Schwedelson. That's the guy that I mentioned that has a podcast.
Right.
And it's called Do This, Not That. And then he sends out, if you go to his website, I think it's just jschwedelson.com, I'm pretty sure, or just Google him. He has, then if you sign up for his newsletter, then he sends once a week, here's the top 5 marketing podcasts of the week. And you can click on some of those. Some of those are really good. Some pertain and some don't. But I've connected with 2 or 3 other people from him, and he's on LinkedIn too. And he does this guru conference every year that I participated in last year. It's just online, it's free. And Martha Stewart was one of the speakers last year. He just has, these like marketing people who are successful with marketing. And it's just kind of fun you can just get some cool ideas. So
That sounds great.
yeah.
Thank you.
And he's funny. I just, he makes me laugh all the time. So and maybe I have a weird sense of humor, but I really like him.
I think that's great. I'm gonna look him up right now.
I posted the link for his podcast in the chat there, so everybody can just click on it. So,
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
right. Anyone else have any questions for the group this hot day?
Ah, yes. It is so hot.
Let's
see.
Anything anyone's excited about or jazzed about? You want to brag about? We're here for you.
Trying to think.
Let's hear some positive affirmations. What do we got?
Well, I'll brag.
Definitely.
We had our in the summertime, we move our jazz and blues concerts outside. I had my biggest concert ever last week, Wednesday, 500 people.
Oh my gosh.
So
wow.
That's
the
great.
band we hired did a lot of marketing too. Plus we did a lot of marketing and we had great weather. So
wow. Wow.
So yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It was, no problems, The only issue was that because we had so many people, they were sitting a little further out, so they had to crank up the volume on the music, so they could be heard all over. which I consider a good problem.
That's a great problem to have.
I'm getting an intern, so I'm excited about that.
Woohoo!
Oh, that's great.
Interns
now
are
I-
wonderful.
Yes, now I get to build out a training plan and all that stuff. So I'm looking at trainings too.
Yeah. And I had a question in the chat, to what do I contribute to that, attribute to my success of the concert? Lots of, we put the word out. One, it's an established series, so we generally get 100 people. So I've got those, and then I told the last couple concerts, I was telling people, tell this to your friends. And then the
Mhm.
band also did a lot of marketing on their end as well.
That
And
helps.
they've got some followers, so they brought some of their followers, you know, we brought some of ours. And then being outside, we had people that were just driving by that were like, what's going on? I'll turn right and see what's
Oh, yeah.
going on. We had people that were just out walking their dog that stopped by. So
Oh, that's great.
We had a concert last week too outside, but we didn't have 500 people. We had 130, and I thought that was really good, but you blew us away, Kelly. So the same thing. It's so great to have it outside and people, like you say, they're walking by or driving by and they come in. So
yeah,
yeah, it's really fun.
when the weather works in your favor, you know, it's wonderful.
Yes.
Always got to have
Yeah.
your plan Bs because as today's showing, the weather doesn't always work in our favor, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. We had our summer reading kickoff on, on Saturday, and things were well attended, and the weather cooperated, which was really, really nice.
Yeah. Yep, when it does, when the stars align, it is wonderful.
Definitely.
We have in the chat, I'm picturing the hamsters from Zootopia. Keep running, keep running.
So in terms of reaching a certain audience, like, I know you have to have good events, but for tweens and teens, what's the social media that they use, if any? Are they interested in hearing about the library? I have a hard time reaching that audience. I mean, we have great, we have good events and things, but I want to be able to make sure I'm promoting them enough and in the right places.
That
They're
I think
on
is one of your
TikTok, I
hardest
think.
groups to reach.
Say that again. That is the hardest. Yes. Yeah. And
think a lot
Jillian
of
does a
them-
good job making plans, but I want to make sure I'm supporting it in the right way.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, Instagram and TikTok, or at least what I know that they're on.
Mm-hmm.
But TikTok, it's hard to get down to local. So that's what the downside of
That's-
TikTok.
Yeah, that's the trouble we were having.
You know, if you have a few teens that come, if you can ask them specifically, hey, tell your friends about this.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you know, nothing beats word of mouth marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been putting a lot of stuff on our Instagram stories, especially for younger audiences, and that's
Mhm.
been doing well. So young parents as well as teens and tweens, and that seems to be
Okay.
netting more people for us. We actually are filling a lot of our summer programs for young adults, and we've been expanding what we offer to them. I think part of the thing that helped was when we went to a new website, a lot of them find our information through the website, or they report finding our information through the website. So
Mhm.
teens must be going there. And then we do also see, like we had our first young adult kickoff. We did a separate kickoff just for young adults because we noticed that they weren't coming to our regular kickoff. It was very youth oriented. So unless their sibling was there, they weren't. And even if their sibling was there, half the time they didn't want to be there.
Right. Right.
So we just tried to tailor a kickoff event to them, and we actually had like about 80 people turn out to that. So we were pleasantly surprised. We did a mobile escape room. We had the mobile escape room also provided cotton candy, which the kids were really into. We had a bunch of free
Mhm.
snacks. Food always helps.
Yeah.
And then we did it after hours, which it was like on a Friday, so it was like it wasn't too late. It was 6:30 to 8:30.
Uh-huh.
So kids kind of could spread out a little bit more and take over and not have judgmental looks from adults. And I think they really appreciated that too.
Right. So, and that was the evening that you did that, Friday evening.
Yeah,
Separate.
we were worried that we wouldn't see people because it was actually the last day of school, and we did start to hear rumblings of a lot of people going out of town that day, but it worked out all right for us. So the people who
I'm
stayed in
glad.
town seemed to come.
That's a
Yeah.
great turnout.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a teen leadership council too, that the kids meet once a month and they help plan teen events. So that's, and I'm not sure, like maybe 10 kids or something, but they have friends too. Like Victoria was saying, you know, bring your friends. And then we did a teen takeover of our makerspace.
Okay.
And the kids want, and again, it's, you know, Fridays we close at 5, so we did it after hours. And the kids wanted to stay instead of till 8, they wanted to stay till 9. So yeah, so you know, you just have to get started, and the kids will bring their friends, and like Kelly said, word of mouth is really big too. So
Right. We have teen council
yeah.
that my son was actually on it a long time ago. He was a library liaison. And I think we do have a library liaison still. So maybe we can lean on her. I can't remember her name, but maybe we can mention that again and do a little more kind of like, hey, you know, let's get this word out. Because it's a good group. It's a good group of kids, and they're the ones that would attend events, you know what I mean, if they were of interest to them. So that's a great idea. That's a really great idea. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for the group today before we wrap it up?
You can't think of anything else. Thanks everyone for your information.
Thank you for this great discussion. I'll post the recording up later today. Our next meeting is a roundtable meeting on July the 16th. So I'll send out the notices on our website or on our listserv and on the July Bell. So thank you, everybody. Stay cool today. Drink your water. Drink more water than you think you need.
Yes.
And good luck with summer reading, everybody.
Good luck.
But it poses two problems.